Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the Silverline Show on Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim TK, joined as always by Jose Fuentes.
Hello, everybody.
And Brent Larson.
Hi.
And tonight we're talking about summertime reading. What we, the way we used to spend the long summer nights while the fireflies light the sky and we sit on the porch drinking sweet tea and moonshine and other various things.
Yeah, I never did that.
So, interesting fact, only a few years ago, my children saw fireflies.
Really? Yeah.
Because we don't really get them in Florida.
No.
It's a northern temperature kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Midwest.
I think it was when we ended up going to Pennsylvania and driving across the mountains and valleys were dark, and then they got to see fireflies. They're like, what are those?
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my mother-in-law lives in Kentucky, and we get up there every 4th of July, and there's a few of them. It's very magical. And
It is.
so just like, whoa, I could be freaked out if I didn't know what those were.
Right?
Tell the kids if you catch enough and eat them, it tastes like lemonade.
Yeah. Dad, you're mean.
We don't want to get them over in Oregon either, so it's...
You guys don't get them in Oregon?
No.
Oh, Tim, you're missing out, buddy.
I know. Yes, we'll be talking about, the habit of the summertime read, like what we do read, the culture that goes into reading clubs and all that fun stuff. As well as, the vibes of a summertime book versus a winter book. I'm sure we'll get into like very nitpicky, very objective, hard reasoned facts over what defines a summer book. But before we get into that, we do have a little bit of housekeeping. If you want to head on over to where's our banner? They've added more banners. Anyway, I can't find a thing, but if you head on over to Silverline Comics crowdfunder, you can go ahead and place yourself an order for some sweet trade paperbacks. And this is all of our completed series so far. If you want to get it in a trade, the value is pretty astronomical as far as how much they're discounted versus getting them in a floppy. So if you have not got finished any of these stories and want to have a chance to sit down and read one in one go, perhaps on a lovely end of summer evening coming to September, and then now is your chance.
Let's see. Is that it?
There it is. Jose found it.
Right? Or if you just have spots missing in your bookshelf, you have to fill them.
Yes.
You have to. The compulsion is there.
I just moved, so my bookshelves are barren again, but they won't be once I get my boxes unpacked. But
right.
I just have the illusion of, you can buy so many more books now.
Yes. Have you heard of the word sanduko? It's the Japanese word for the act of buying books that you don't read.
Oh, okay.
Which makes me feel better.
Yes, I'm an ardent practicer of sanduko.
Yeah. Yes, I love it.
You don't read them?
I want to read them. I think that counts for something. How's that?
So my goal in life was to have a room that's just a library, just all the books that I've collected over the years to put up on the shelf. And when people are like, "Oh man, like, what book is that?" Oh, let me tell you a story about that book because I've read it.
There you go.
Nice.
See, the goal is always to read them, but the problem is like you always buy. You can buy faster than you can read usually. That's
fair. That is really fair. I mean, I eventually read them. I also haven't bought a book in a while. Since last year, and that's not seen. Yeah. Listen, last summer at least, if not before.
Okay,
that's a long time for book buyers.
I mean, I still have yet to get through Wise Man's Fear and start on the Kingkiller Chronicles, despite the fact that it's been the hotness.
That's not a book. That's a King James Bible.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I have a family Bible I got from my mom that was handed down to me that's about as big as that.
Yeah, respect.
Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't read books that big. I mean,
I went with a Bible study that I'm in. We drove up to a place called Chamberlain's Book Mine in Jacksonville, Florida, a few weeks ago. And once again, it's the biggest used bookstore I've ever seen. They have sections on things like bullfighting, and yeah, that's how much they've got. But
where is that?
In Jacksonville.
I mean, that makes sense, right? Florida, cowboys, caballeros.
Yes, actually, I just think they got everything. But I was so excited because a used bookstore is my favorite kind of store. It's like they're saying, hey, you want new stuff? Well, used is better, and this way you get to enjoy something somebody else is enjoying. But anyway, so I bought a ton of books. It'll take me years to read them, but
that's fair.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It just it creates this exciting sense of possibility. Like bored, I will never be bored. I have staved off the boredom for possibly years, and exactly where to go if I start getting bored again. Go back to the used bookstore. It's beautiful.
Unfortunately, with where I have moved away from our nearest Barnes & Noble, but we do have a 2-location used and new book store called Book Bin over here. We have one in Albany and one in Salem.
It's a used bookstore?
It's used and new. So, so the collection is massive. It's great. But no, I went to, it was actually at Goodwill semi recently, and I found like the first 9 books of the Dresden Files for like all under $4.
Dang.
So I also loaded it up on those again.
That's yes. See, it's almost like you're getting rewarded. So yeah, they're great. I love them.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's get into that's gonna be our first little thing. I mean, you already kind of mentioned it with the size of the books. I don't know why I have this thought. I just do. But I always feel like bigger books, if they're especially like bigger books that maybe are like only in a trilogy or not like a full like serial, like these are winter books. Like this is this is inside while it's raining. Like you're not doing anything.
The logic is that you're spending more time inside during the winter than you are during the summer, so you have more time to read. Okay.
You got a full Sunday to drink coffee and eat a bagel and read. Whereas like lighter books that may be more serialized, like the Dresden Files, like maybe some of those more pulpy type deals, like, and there's still modern pulp stuff that isn't quite pulp, but that same sort of size, right? Like under 300 pages ish. Like that's a good summer book. Like that's a good, like that'll get me through a couple weeks in the summer, right?
Okay.
Huh. I don't know, man. Maybe you're thinking like the cold, like the extra pages are insulating your.
I think it's kind of like.
Remember, his cold is real cold, Brett.
Yeah. Like
we get snow.
Summer read versus winter read. These terms are meaningless to me. There's
right.
Summer, and then there's slightly less hot summer. So
like I tell people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys don't have winter." It's like, "Oh, we have winter. I remember it. It was a Tuesday."
Yeah.
I mean, Jose may have some more context because living up in Pennsylvania and all that.
I do absolutely. Yes. I lived in Pennsylvania. I lived in Indiana. I have lived in northern states. So I grew up in them. So I totally do get that.
Yeah.
And I feel that I definitely read a lot more in the winter up there because I feel the Pacific Northwest is the same as Indiana in that it's lake. We get lake effect snow. You guys get snow off the water, is my guess.
Yeah.
Like it's very wet and sloshy. So you don't want to go out in that. You know what I mean? You have Uber drive you food on purpose so that you can sit there and eat. Like we didn't have Uber. We had pizza delivery drivers. And so or the Chinese guy down the road to deliver food.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I totally get that. I do. I mean, I used to kill a trilogy in a week. You know what I mean? When in my youth.
Yeah. That sounds nice. Yeah. I don't know. Everything goes for me at any time. Like I actually, I for the first time ever, I signed up on the Goodreads app for a goal, and I think I made my goal like 40 books in a year, which I'm now like I'm hopelessly behind. But in the summer months, I was like, I'm going to read the Narnia books. Why?
7 books.
So short, and yet they still count as books. So I'm now competing with myself for a non-existent prize to see how close I can actually get to nailing this goal. And I'm now 7 books closer, whereas if I had chosen a regular book, it would just be 1.
Is it from like whenever you signed up? Is during the summer to summer, or is it?
It was it's calendar year 2026. Gotcha. So yeah, I think I still have 20 to go. Something like I really better hope I get sick for a long period of time, because that's when I can read. So and that's when I'm like,
go to a convention, shake some hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's also, I mean, because the summer reading challenge is definitely part of the summer book culture, and Goodreads definitely helps perpetuate that. But and it definitely goes back to school when you had like Sussex Book Fair and stuff like that, where you'd get your summer reading challenge, right? Then those of us who were nerds decided to keep on doing the same thing once we got to adulthood, and our jobs don't have a summer break, so it's kind of harder.
Listen, we used to get free pizza.
Yeah.
We get to do the book it. You read a few books, get free pizza. As adults, we don't get a free pizza, but we still want to read. So
I know. I'm just every time I turn in a punch card to my partner, they just kind of stare at me.
Everything's points. My wife is evidently a platinum member of the Chick-fil-A points group or whatever.
Nice.
Like it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Or what's the other one? Tropical smoothie. Tropical smoothie. I think it's it. We'll go. I'll just spend points and get us drinks. Like, how many points do you have? I'm like, 15.
Yeah.
How many do you have? 3,400 and blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Okay.
What can I get for 15 points?
Right.
An empty cup.
I'll smile at you.
I mean, so Brent, your summertime read this year is the Narnia series, which is not, polar opposite of what I've described of like the light airy book. Like some of those are thick.
Yeah. I mean, I had been wanting to read them for a while, but and I was knocking out typically a book every couple of days. So, and that makes you feel productive, which is exactly what reading is all about, is to help you feel productive. And then, but now I'm done with those, and I'm reading other stuff, and it's taken me a long time, but that's all right.
Do humans happen to have a genre of choice? Gosh, I got this like little gnat driving me nuts. Genre of choice for books that you'll pick up.
Usually falls under. I'll preface it that it has to fall under some level of absurdism.
Absurdism.
Where like I'll read like modern fantasy or like off-kilter sci-fi type stuff, but like they kind of started them in the spring, but I guess my summer read was the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, because I read through that to where it's currently is.
No spoilers. I'm only on chapter 8.
Yeah.
Or sorry, chapter 30. I'm on chapter 30. My bad.
Yes. I just finished book 8, so I have to wait for book 9 and then book 10.
So you recommend?
I would recommend, definitely.
I feel about it.
Yeah, but it is that, I mean, there are also thick books. So I don't know what I'm talking about. I feel like maybe I preach that the lighter book is like, it's like the cold soup, right? That's like what you have on like a hot summer's day. But sometimes you just want to stew, and they're definitely stewy books. Like they're packed full of stuff.
I'm doing mine via audiobook.
Yes.
Right, because I'm trying to get as much artwork as I can done, and I listen to a lot of music, but I'm trying to deviate, not because I don't want to stop listening to music, but I want to start changing it to something else. And
Yeah.
so I've had like several people. I think Tim and Dave recommended on Dungeon Crawler Carl, and then I had a few other people, and I'm the kind of person like I'm not gonna listen to them, forget them. But then I've had a few other people. They're like, "Oh yeah, dude, it's actually a really good book series." I was like, "Crap, all right, I'll give it a try." Because I'm not, like I said, I'm not one to follow trends like that. But man, it is a hoot, and I'm only on the first book, and I'm only 13 or 30 chapters in, and it is a hoot.
Yes, it's so good. And the audiobook also has a phenomenal narrator. But
Yes.
I think also I also got on the audiobook train pretty hard recently. So that's also how I'm going through the Dresden Files again recently, is on audiobook. But I feel like also it's easier to sit down with a hardback or a large tome during the winter months when you're stuck inside, whereas an audiobook is great for, when you're actually going out and doing stuff.
Right.
Do a lot of skateboarding, do a lot of
productive.
yeah. I'm the type of person to put on audiobook while I go to the store and just ignore people. So
You're walking around laughing out loud, and people are just looking at you weird.
Yeah.
You're that guy at Walmart.
What about you, Brent? Genre of choice in your reading?
I don't really have, and I'm actually looking at the stack of books I got one. I've got everything. I'm reading one right now, In the Garden of Beasts. It's called Eric Larson, no relation.
Okay.
The true story of the ambassador, American ambassador to Nazi Germany, when they first started to realize something was amiss. And so that's a nonfiction book, which I probably prefer fiction, and I'll always go to the Stephen King section just because he's probably influenced me more than any other writer I can think of. But so probably the horror genre. But what's funny is I don't know a lot of horror writers that are my go-to writers. So like this last time I was at the bookstore, I actually Googled what are the best horror movies of horror novels of the last 10 years and looked for them, and they had a couple, so I picked them up. So I do like sci-fi. I'm wading through the Expanse novels.
Oh,
they're great.
So good.
There's so much. Yeah, I know. But I'm not great. I don't really think I'd want to read a or like a period piece romance. That's probably one I would stay far away from, but probably I like most everything. So
yeah.
I mean, I feel it's no secret. I'm a huge fantasy fan. You know what I mean? So yes, like Dungeon Crawler Carl, I've read almost up until the mid or early 2000s. I've read all the Dragonlance books. I've read all the Forgotten Realms books. I've read 2 or 3 Dark Sun books. And then up to the 90s, I think, I read Stephen King, all of Stephen King's books. So I mean, I've read, Night Shift was one of my first ones. Salem's Lot, I loved it. I've read that one, physically read that one like 3 or 4 times. That's how much I love that book. The original movie could have done it justice, a lot better justice, but whatever. The book was amazing.
It's been shot like 3 times.
Dude, yeah.
It's been great.
Every time, right? I mean, it's gotten a little better, but now we're ad-libbing. Now we're adding stuff that to me wasn't in the book. Like, oh, this was interpreted. No, not when I read it. The 9 times I've read it.
Yeah.
But Tim was talking about seasonal reads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And definitely my taste changed during seasonal reads. So like as we do get a little bit of fall. You know what I mean? Fall. Autumn. We call it autumn.
Yeah.
And up north, I was like, why don't we just call it fall? Like it's fall. All the leaves fall. It makes sense. Down here, we have to call it autumn because we don't get any leaves that fall. So I tend to switch to H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, yeah.
I read a lot of H.P. Lovecraft. And it's a lot, like, I'm telling you, if you do audiobooks and it's older books, LibriVox is a
LibriVox, yeah.
Yeah.
And I cycled through all of the H.P. Lovecraft books while I was working at the Walmart distribution center, because I would have to go up into the freezer and don't tell nobody. I listened to audiobooks while I was in the freezer because I was the only one up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just all the time, audiobooks through my ears, like on break, on any chance I got. And I've gone through all those. I've gone through all the Barsoom books during the winter, during the autumn time period. The Edgar Rice Burroughs, John Carter, Deja Thoris books. I've been through all of those, but the two that they had that were messed up. I think that's the only two I haven't read.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said, fantasy. Currently, I'm going through some graphic novels that I haven't watched or read. I haven't read in a while.
Yeah.
Tim looking down at a giant stack. There's a giant stack there, isn't there, Tim? We're not looking.
So we did just go to a comic swap, and so I picked these up. I haven't tried them yet, but it's it's kind of an unhinged name. It's called Candy and Cigarette. Candy and Cigarettes. Yeah.
Is that a manga?
It's a manga, and it is. It looks like a young girl gets stuck in the Yakuza.
The
Chinese
mob?
The Japanese mob, yeah.
Japanese mob?
The Chinese are the triads.
Oh, that's what it's right.
Yeah. Or well, something, but actually, I think she might just be a mercenary vigilante of some sort. But yeah, it's just a kid who gets really good at guns and takes up smoking and gets involved in stopping crime and conspiracies.
I mean, that's what happens, right? That's how.
Yeah. I'm from Arizona. We call that a Tuesday.
Right.
These are my finds though. I got the Cable 2-parter for $1 a piece.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know, right? And then also got one of the Age of Apocalypse one-shots.
Which one is that one? It's X-Men?
X-Men, Amazing X-Men. Let's see. It has the cool-looking storm with the giant white bee piece. Yeah,
Quicksilver's on the team, right?
Yeah.
Was that a one-shot or was that?
So that was okay. Age of Apocalypse was a huge X-Mutant book crossover, right, with the 90s, and each book I believe had 4 issues, and then they all were together, and then they did their 4 issues, but they kind of veered off, and each of them were working to a specific angle to stop the Age of Apocalypse, and then at the end of the 4 issues, they kind of all converge back together ish. And so you had what? Then you had everything that happened, but yeah, like there was Generation X, which was Next Generation. There's Astonishing X-Men. You said there's Amazing X-Men. There's
Cable was rebranded as X-Man. I remember that
because it wasn't. Cable was a younger.
Yeah, because that was Nathan Gray, who comes back later. Yeah,
love Nathan Gray for a long time.
I love the Age of X-Man is one of my favorite more modern things where it's just he starts his own weird mind universe and traps everyone inside of it. Yeah. But yeah, and then you have the internows are the things that were used to set up the the 4-run series that come after. Yeah.
Yeah, I had every single floppy for Age of Apocalypse, and I think I traded them for a bunch of books because somebody wanted to trade me. I mean, I collected almost all of them since. Got them back, they're dollar bin books.
Yeah.
But cool.
Traded mine in. Nope. I'm getting my times on. I might still have those. What? Anyway.
So I have again read through. Where did I put them? Working my way through again. Barbaric.
Nice.
I'll get the second, third, and fourth. I think fifth. I think they have 5 books out now of the trades, right? Then Killjoys.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Who was that?
I don't know. You're asking me questions. I don't know the truth. I don't know the answer to. I don't know.
It looks like Gerard Way.
Oh, he wrote it. Yeah, sorry, he wrote it. Yeah. Gerard Way wrote it, and so with another friend that he's a writer and they write together. So, interesting, weird fact. then it's Killjoy's national anthem, right? So the writer who worked with Gerard Way to write Killjoys, right? He started the book. He started writing it and whatnot, and he wrote this. Gerard Way and the band went into the desert, came back a few weeks later and said, we're revamping the whole thing. Like, we're redoing it. And we got this. So then originally this came out first, and this was directly connected to the MCR Danger Days album with the Killjoys and everything. And then I think like 2 years later, they put this out. I actually like this one better. Now, I'm a huge MCR fan. Like, Tim knows this.
Yeah.
Huge MCR fan. But I actually like the original story idea first or better because it's interesting. It's more affecting the mind when you're reading it. Like a lot of the stuff that you read, like, oh, they've been brainwashed. Like people, and that's not a spoiler for anybody. Just they kind of say right out the gate. It's just interesting how they go about it, and it's probably one of my favorite reads that I've been doing. Then these are books that I know exactly where they're at right here under my desk. These are the books that I every time I've moved until we bought our house, I made sure I unpacked these books first, right? They are the Delilah Dirk books.
Huh. Okay.
And they're like half size, right? Or not even a little bigger than half size, right?
Huh.
There's 3 of them.
Huh.
And I don't know what it is. It's like kind of a period piece. It reminds me of reading or not reading, sorry, of like watching Indiana Jones or Agatha Christie's Poirot. You know what I mean?
Huh.
That's the feel I get. She goes out like kind of crime fights, adventures, almost like Indiana Jones-esque. But she's like the daughter of like a British, I don't even know, military general or something like that. But she goes off and does her own thing. It's cool. It's a cool book series. And the writer, the guy who created it, he wrote it and did the artwork for it. He just, I think within the last few months, finished Practical Defense Against Piracy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's the next book I want to get. I don't think it's physical yet. It's like just a digital book, but I'm waiting for it to be physical so I can add it to my library.
Nice.
Those are, I mean, I've got a lot of trades. I prefer floppies, which means I have a lot of those too.
Mm-hmm.
But I will cycle through my like specific trades. I also will read War Kings, which is a Marvel book with the Inhumans and Vulcan.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a great read too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. I go back to, like the runs of Uncanny Avengers where you had Cable leading the Avengers, stuff like that. But what's going to be probably my summary next year, because I'll have to get through my current reading list. We're finally getting the omnibus for the middle chunk of Age of Krakoa. So we got the omnibus for all the stuff that leads into it. We got the omnibus for all the stuff that happens at the end and afterwards. We're finding the omnibus that's going to have Uncanny X-Men, Objective List, like Marauders, X-Force, all that stuff that happened in the middle of Krakoa. It's going to be huge. So I'm saving up my reward points at my comic shop to get it for I'm not paying full price.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, so that'll be my summary next year. It's probably all of the Krakoa cycle. Just, try and read through 5 years of comics in 3 months or so.
Right?
Yeah.
3 months. Like it'll take you that long.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm working through the Walter Simonson Thor omnibus.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
And I actually did not read it through the first time. And when and I was into comics then. I don't know why, but it just passed me by. So,
sure.
So that's pretty exciting. And I've only just started, so I've got quite a ways to go. It's fun.
Listen, I mean, we got to fuel or feed ourselves, right? And I know religiously we have, we go to church to feed ourselves, to get fed Bible verses and lessons and stuff like that. But man, we got to feed our imagination, and by doing that, getting into the books that we read, the genres that we like, you know what I mean, getting into those. And I think people that don't read, I don't think nothing ill will, but I think people that don't read don't understand how much like we get involved into it, right? And that involves even going into role playing and involves into comic books. You know, when you're creating comic books, my wife didn't understand in regards to role playing. My wife didn't understand when I would tell of like old games that me and friends played. I was like, oh yeah, I did this and I did that and I did this and I went up against this dragon or I flew through the air. I'm like, but you didn't really do that. I was like, no, that's my character. But when when you're a DM or you have someone DMing, like telling the story, ideally you want them to embody themselves into their character. You want to be able to be a part of that story. Just like reading the Dragonlance books, you know what I mean? There came to a part in the second book, and I believe it was the second book of Chronicles, and I was just like, I just started bawling.
Yeah.
And because a significant thing happened that you didn't expect. And
was it Stern?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He was a man.
He was a man, yeah.
Huh.
How many people just gonna stand there straight up against a dragon just right? Oh, dude.
I mean, no, yeah, is the one thing that made Radagast cry, right? Or what's his name? Raslin.
Racing, yeah.
Raslin, yeah. It's like emotionless, just piece of crap, and then like, my brother ate it. All right.
Like, dude.
Yeah.
It was, but we get engrossed in our stories. We get engrossed in the stories we create. So as comic creators, I mean, I get engrossed in the books that I'm working on. I want to know, like, it's not just, oh, here's the script, just hurry up and draw it up. Like, no, I'm going to go through it. I'm invested in characters. I'm invested in the story, plot storylines that are processing through these books. I mean, reading on my reading material is the same thing. I'm sitting there reading my Danger Days, and I'm just engrossed in it because I want to know what happens. Like, a good book is going to pull you in, keep you in, captivate you.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, you're left either with questions, with emotional trauma, or inspiration to do something else, to continue on. I have definitely
great book, all three.
Draw characters.
Yeah, totally.
Books I've read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is also going to be like, this might just be because I'm a highly medicated person, but I also feel like weird take. Dragonlance books, great summer books. The Drizzt Saga, winter books.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's that. I think that's also. I mean, that's the thing I miss about living in Florida, right? Is that essentially it is kind of like summer all the time.
Yep.
But that kind of weather, definitely. I mean, seasonal affective disorder is a thing. Having that kind of weather does boost your mood, and you're able to feel more energized, refreshed, recharged, all that. And I think that's kind of what the same kind of energy I get. Like, I'll be more into maybe something that's more dark and depressing, maybe like a tragedy during the winter when I'm already kind of mopey. But when it's summertime, I like something like Lord of the Rings, right? Where it's like, yes, the good guys win because that's what they do. Like, there's hopeful undertones to it.
Huh. I just don't know. I don't think I've ever done that. It sounds good. I mean, I will say there are times when I'm like, man, I want to read the Hunger Games again. Or, man, Harry Potter. Oh, I just got to give it another spin. And I'm like, when am I going to get to that? So I have just started to think, when I retire, I'm going to read a lot of books.
Yeah.
And it's no longer sounding like, a faraway country like the So I'm like, but something that I was going to say, actually, Jose, you mentioned the whole idea of like feeding your imagination. Like, I've read several writing books and books like Stephen King actually has a great book on writing. He's very adamant. You have to read if you are going to be a writer. You are going to be an anemic writer at best if you don't read.
I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
And what's funny is it's not easy. I mean, I love reading. I love everything about reading. why is it so hard? Why do I find that I'm running around doing stupid chores when I should be reading a book? And the answer is, I don't know. Just the dopamine hit from accomplishing something, even if it's something stupid. But at the same time, I'm like, I need this. I need this. I need to feed my creativity well. It is drying up if I'm not careful, and it has to be a deliberate choice most of the time. I don't understand why it's that way, but it is that way.
Well, now, like I said, I've been doing a lot of audiobooks lately, mostly because the reading part, I feel that if I sit down and open a book and start reading it, I'm killing time that I could be using to be productive. Now, mentally, I know I need to sit down and just like decompress. I need to sit down and like disconnect from everything that has to do with my job sometimes, right? But can I be doing something around the house? Can I be doing something with my animals? Can I be doing something, for my homestead? You know what I mean? So like a lot of that. So it's really hard for me to like get the gumption to be able to just sit there and not feel guilty, right? And I think when we're younger, our teens, our 20s, even early 30s for me, it was easier because I went to work. I did, the 9 to 5 thing. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, it was like 3 to 11, but whatever.
Yeah.
And so I felt that when I worked, then I got to sit home and do what I wanted because I went out and was productive. But now my production is here at home, doing what I do here. You know what I mean? Doing the artwork I'm doing here. I have to be productive, and no one's going to tell me not to. And then there are times where I get up, go to the bathroom, get up and go grab a drink, grab a bite to eat, because I can do whatever I want. So mentally, I need to recoup that time at the desk working. But man, so for me, doing audiobooks, I can still, because I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to watch shows, reruns over and over and over again. Because I told you guys before, I cycle through like 5 shows over and over. I don't watch anything new. You know what I mean? I really don't. Right now, I'm watching freaking Cold Case and Psych again.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So great shows, but I know what's going on, right? So if I'm already doing that with those, I'm trying to disconnect from that and do something different. So different for me is listening to the Dungeon Crawler Carl book in my ear while I'm working. Because I would be doing the same thing. I'd be listening to the TV, listening to my computer, play episodes while I'm drawing. Why not listen to a book while I'm doing it? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to stimulate my brain and continue being productive at the same time without feeling guilty. Mm-hmm. But I never felt guilty back in the day. You know what I mean? I was like, I've earned my time. I don't want to do anything. I'm just sitting here and read.
Yeah.
Plus I got kids. And, once you start having kids, well, then it's all about reading Berenstain Bears and
Now, kids, do you think that the Berenstain Bears actually represent like different desires that we shut up, Daddy? Just
evidently, you're not supposed to read Misery to your kids, and I guess you're not a good parent if you do that. You're to read it to your 8-year-old.
How did that become evident? That sounds like
specific, right? It's a specific example.
That does sound awfully.
Huh. I mean, I was told I wasn't supposed to play MCR to my kids either, but
and I don't know,
maybe I was right.
Right.
I'm a little younger than you, Jose, but like the thing I was raised on, like the book that I was read as a kid was the Dragonhawk books. So
nice.
I think there's room for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Deeds of Paxtonarian? That was a good book.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic book. Dragon Riders of Pern, the Anne McCaffrey books.
Yeah.
I can't believe I remember her name. I'll be honest.
Huh. I didn't read any of those. Let me see. I read the Madeline L'Engle time books, The Wrinkle in Time.
Oh yeah.
Swiftly Tilting Planet. That was actually my favorite one. And then I read a series called Journey Through the Night, which was a 4-part series written by this Dutch guy about a family in the Dutch underground during the Nazi occupation.
No.
A nonfiction?
No. It was fiction.
Was it?
Yeah, and it was
Sounds kind of interesting.
YA pretty much, but it made an impact on me.
Yeah.
That subject is so richly evocative of just about any kind of narrative you can think. And I was just talking to somebody about it today. Something about World War II, that era is just so ripe with story ability and imagination.
Absolutely. Not just movies, but like some of the books, and I have not read them, but I know my wife has read them and we talked about them, but they've spurned a conversation between me and my wife about it. My wife, my father-in-law was a huge, what's the word? Fan is not the right word, but interest in World War II and Nazi occupation and the Holocaust specifically.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where it is. I mean, it was the bloodiest time in human history, so like that already itself is like it feels like it's something you need to understand.
Yeah.
Just to like know the gravity and the situation and like the impact of it all, but also if we define humans as often are through the struggles we overcome, like that is perhaps the greatest struggle in like recent history that it like we've had like documented like and like real cases of people, nations, uneasy allies, things forming to overcome the certain struggles. And so I think it is, I mean, I wrote Wolf Hunter based off of a note that got lost in like a real world thing where a guy accidentally lost a briefcase, and I was like, well, we don't really have documentation for these 3 days, so what if this adventure happened in these 3 days? And then and there's so many like weird things as well, like I talked about before, like the Battle of Castle Bitter, where a German artillery officer got reassigned to the rear guard, and then saw firsthand like the Holocaust happening. So he joined the Austrian resistance, and then helped political prisoners escape from Castle Bitter at the end. Whereas a detachment of German grenadiers, a U.S. recon detachment, and several like resistance fighters fighting the Waffen SS rear guard to get the former Prime Minister of France and all these people out of this castle.
Oh, dang.
That's a true story?
That's a true story.
That's wild.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I've also talked before, like if we were to do a Wolf Hunter 2, it wouldn't be following. I might be following like current set of characters, but I'd actually like to do like a side series in the Eastern Front, following the Warsaw Uprising, where a group of essentially Polish revolutionaries actually freed Warsaw from German occupation, under the premise that the Russians would then come and relieve them and like hold Warsaw. However, the Russians instead stayed on their side of the river, so then the Germans came back and retook Warsaw. So the Russians could then have the glory of claiming Warsaw in the first place.
Yeah. There was some weirdness too.
Yeah, but it was such a weird, interesting story like that. I would want to like create some characters and explore.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the betrayal in that moment, like the sense of sacrifice, and like because there'd be so many like strong, potent emotions as well as like things to explore in that moment in what would be that story.
Yeah. I've read a lot of books about the era, and it's just, and then I'm sitting here going, and I'm in Orlando, and I just complain all the time about how hot it is. Like that's my idea.
Complaint is valid.
Yeah. They lived in
all the atrocities that occurred during World War II. Our complaint is valid.
Yeah. So very, very compelling. All of that is to say, I learned that at a young age just by reading. So yeah, reading good. Keep it up. Stay in school.
Stay in school, right?
Yeah.
if you can't read, have somebody read to you.
Yeah.
If you can't read, learn.
There's some phonics, right? What was it, ABC Mouse?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being sort of funny, but I mean, it's legit.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where like if you know, maybe you're someone who struggles with dyslexia, and like, in which case, audiobooks all the way. So good. Yeah.
I see that. My daughter has dyslexia, and she likes to do graphic novels. For some reason, it's easier for her to read panel to panel.
Probably like, yeah, the images probably break it up, and then also because I think they talked about like the casing a little bit, because comics don't have the same casing as like printed text normally does. So it's actually more natural for the eyes to flow across that.
Interesting.
That's why Aptos just took over Arial for professional documents for anyone else who works in the office.
I don't even know what Aptos is.
It's a new font that's supposed to be easy to read, but it looks more like comic book font.
Oh,
Aptos.
because all the business people now are all comic book readers, and you know, they learn to read seeing that comic. It's not even comic script. Like for any comic book, that I've had the letter for anything, I always use the Joe Kubert font.
Yeah,
because it looks like comic stuff, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what everyone learns to read. So now they read that. With that said, not to increase your reading capacity, you should get some trades from Silverline.
Yes.
Fun. So throw a little commercial in there.
Absolutely.
Now back to our regularly scheduled program.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I just finished DCT, and I'm going back through my ongoing reread of Dungeon Crawler Carl. Brent is in the middle of the Chronicles of Narnia. Jose, do you currently have any reading projects you're working on for the summer?
Reading, like I said, Dungeon Crawler Carl, working on that. So I've unpacked a little more. And we've been in our house in September, and I've unpacked a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I found a few of the Anne Rice books that I had.
Oh, nice.
Originally, the original Anne Rice book I ever read was Pandora. Because it wasn't Louis and Lestat. I wanted a different, you know, I wanted a different character, different time period, different logic. I didn't want to deal with what everyone at the time, everyone was reading. So I might go back now and read those.
Okay.
But first, Dungeon Crawler Carl, I got to finish that first.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's my current reading right now.
Yeah. Sure.
Like I used to read at least 2 or 3 books at a time, just because I want to change it up. But then as I got older, I started mixing storylines up in my head.
Oh yeah.
Telling people about them, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, this happened, blah blah blah," and then this happened, and this character came. Wait, that's a different book.
Yeah,
I had to stop.
I'm doing that now. I'm reading the book I'm reading is In the Garden of Beasts, the one about the Nazi the ambassador too. But I'm also reading David Copperfield, so I'm thinking to myself, David Copperfield was actually fighting the Nazis at some point.
At some point, yes. That is indeed a thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess then, yeah. I can read multiple books if it's like different formats, right? Like I can do a paperback, an audiobook, and maybe like a digital. Just because but for most part, I'm down to like one book at a time right now. But I'll read comics in addition to novels, like no one's business, because it's just so different. But
it is.
Yeah.
You know, tell people like, oh yeah, the common phrase, it hits differently. It hits different when you do. Yeah, it kind of does. I see that.
Yeah.
Comics will, reading about a novel affects you mentally, right? Because you're reading it. And me personally, I will always envision what I'm reading in my head. Even doing the audiobook, listening to someone read it to me, I'm still envisioning what I'm hearing as like in color, you know what I mean, panels or in color slides, you know what I mean, through my head.
Yeah.
Reading graphic novels, it's already done for you, right? So like, that makes it a little simpler, right? You don't have to do a lot of guesswork of what that might look like at that particular moment. But I think seeing the action, seeing the artist drawing emotional response in characters' faces that that the writer has written, you know what I mean, that, like I said, that hits differently too, because that affects me visually, right? I can see that that will affect my feels visually, and then a novel will affect my feels like mentally. Like it's different chemical responses, I think, you know what I mean, different chemical feelings that we have for different books, different styles of reading, I think. And totally forgot where I was going past that. But yeah, it's like, the chemicals in our body.
Yeah.
So reading books helps you regulate chemicals in your body that you don't really feel that that you use, including dopamine. Reading also creates dopamine, in your body, to that feeling of content, that feeling of finding your center, finding your zen. You know what I mean? Because I can open a book, it doesn't matter how violent or how suspenseful or whatever it is. When I finish that book, you have that sense of completion, right? You're like,
yeah, even if it's a lousy book.
I mean, that was like the whole idea behind the catharsis, right? Like the achieving of emotional release through medium, where and I think it's also why the whole argument against violent video games is so weird, because it actually makes people more peaceful. But I think also with like I can tell the difference with like a novel that I'm sitting with for a while. Like when you reach catharsis, like it feels much more impactful than like any other media, except for maybe like long form TV show, where you are sitting with this for multiple hours, like multiple days, or even like a couple of weeks if it's a really thick book. Where if it's a movie, like you're going to hit a climax in 90 minutes or 3 hours if it's a Marvel movie, but but yeah, if it's taking you 3 weeks to reach that same point, like you've spent a sizable chunk of time with these characters and with this emotional development to then finally achieve that release, that it does feel like a greater emotional connection with the art itself.
Yeah, that's true. That is something that movies really just can't do. And I mean, I've seen enough and read enough about movies to understand the beats involved and to know where the story's taking me, but to also know that I'm reaching basically the end game of what it's doing, regardless of the actual story itself. The format I understand well enough, which kind of demystifies the whole thing, and I kind of hate that. But I don't ever really run into that when I'm reading a book. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely a few books where it feels like it's a little too formulaic. It's not to say like every good story in some way utilizes the hero's journey, but it's when you can tell it's beat for beat mimicking something else you've read before.
Yeah.
But yeah, if a book is handling itself well, as long as there's enough changing, like it's going to feel different every time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as many times as I read Salem's Lot, it still was like new. You still get those same feelings. Like Stephen King, as a writer, definitely knows how to like keep me on my toes when I'm reading, right? At least younger Stephen King. I'm not quite sure about older Stephen King, just because I haven't read him. I'll be honest. Clive Barker. You want a good jump scare or whatnot? Read Clive Barker's Body Parts.
Which what?
Body Parts.
Okay.
That's the name of the book. It's a collection of short stories, and one of them freaked me out so bad, and I won't tell you which one, but one of them freaked me out so bad, I still to this day reach into a bedroom to turn the light on.
Okay.
Before I walk in.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I do love short stories too.
I read, because I had read in high school, a friend of mine had all the Dragonlance books. Like he had the cubby pocket in his locker was filled with novels, right? And so I was going into psychology. I had nothing to do. Like, I don't want to do anything. Like, it's like, I think it was testing. And I was like, yo, Jay, you got something in there for me? Give me something to read. He's like, yeah, sure. So he gave me Chronicles. And I read it, and I finished it in a day. And I came back, where's the next one? Like, I finished the Chronicles trilogy, which are the first 3 books of Dragonlance, in a week. And then I kept going, and then I kept going. Then I ran out of books that he had. Like, well, what else do you got? I was like, here, read this. And so he gave me Clive Barker's Body Parts. And I read it, and there's a few stories, and there's a few stories like, and then there's like that one story like, nope.
Yeah. Clive Barker is I love his world building, but also responsible for so much of my trauma. I mean, even like the new Hellraiser movie where he caught on to like consult some of the scares with it and stuff like that. We watched it on Hulu because it's a Hulu original, but we were all broke at the time, so we had Hulu with ads. I don't know why Hulu decided to put ads in an original movie that they produced, but they did.
They're taking you at levels of scared, right? So that you.
It should be what it's based for, right? But it's because it's like the weird computer timing isn't quite always right.
Right.
So trigger warning: if anyone wants to watch the new Hellraiser on Hulu, there is a degloving scene, and we just get an ad break right like as it's happening, and you see everyone go, "Why?" Now that's just baked into our head.
Wow. Was it any good?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Hellraiser movie, man.
Yeah, it's
well, that's to say, like the first one was good.
Yeah,
I don't know if I ever saw any other ones.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely took like a quality drop after the first one, but they still did world building. This is more or less a soft reboot. It's not the same story, and it pulls like you have Xenobites from the other 2 movies, but it's essentially as if the trapping Pinhead in the box didn't really happen. So yeah.
Okay. I'll look for it.
Those movies were weird and wild, and I think I watched them when I was young, and they weren't nearly as traumatic to me as Stephen King's books, but they were pretty creepy. They were pretty like gnarly for me. Just like I gave it the good college try. I think I watched like the first 2. Like I used to watch all the slasher movies growing up, like all of them. Like there was not one that was safe for me. Sleepaway Camp, oddly enough, was one of my favorites. But like now, like my wife and my son and my nephew went to go watch. It's a video game now, where it's like the creepy pasta shadow dude tries to get you. So Backrooms.
The Backrooms.
Okay. They went to go see it, like, oh, Dad, you want to come see that? No, I'm good. I played that video game for like 2 seconds, and I uninstalled it from my Xbox. Nope.
Wow.
I'll stick to my zombie stuff. That's too crazy for me.
I mean, yeah. I'm also in the middle of, I don't know if I guess that is kind of summertime vibe because that's when the story takes place, but also my rewatch of Twin Peaks.
The series Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
I love that show.
Right.
I knew about it, but never really watched it until my teacher Sean said something to me, and she was talking about it in class, and I was like, "What's that?" Like, explain that to me a little bit, because I know about the show, I don't know anything about it. So she started telling me a little bit about it. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
I watched all of season 1. I watched most of season 2, just because I haven't gone back to it, just because I don't know why. Something got in the way. But season 1 is probably the better of the 2 seasons anyway.
I like season 2 better because it gets into the surrealism. Maybe it's a little bit too hard to compare to season 1, but yeah.
No. But did you guys see the remake or the recent?
No, that's part of why I'm rewatching it, is because now I need to go and watch
gotcha.
The Return. Yeah. That, and I had a coworker who was also just started for the first time, so now I'm being the reaction vampire. And also getting to myself and my favorite thing was when they started season 2. There's like, so I started season 2. One question: WTF?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
All interestingly, information trivia about that show. The psychiatrist with the red and blue glasses, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one that was in love with what's her name and blah blah blah, right? Do you remember that show, Brent? Have you seen?
Oh yeah,
The crazy psychiatrist dude with like the funky glasses.
Okay.
He had like red and blue glasses. They were different shapes. One was round, one was like squarish or whatever, right?
Okay, it's starting to come back.
That is Gideon, the youngest brother from Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Oh.
I did not know that. I saw like this like little AI reel thing that talked about like his past movies and stuff like that, and it ended on Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I'm like, that's one of my favorites. I did not know that was him.
That's funny.
So, yeah, interesting bit of trivia. If that ever comes up and a trivia night, I'll count that as a win for the night if I get that one right.
Okay. Well, this has been That's Everyone's Show on Tuesday. I've been your host, Tim DK, and we've been talking about their summertime reading and kind of went off from there with Jose Fuentes and Brett Larson. I don't know why I'm doing like a NPR style end of show now. But make sure to head on to the CivilianComicsCrowdfunder.com where you can buy yourself some trade paperbacks from our completed series. And next week, we will be talking about why do people like comics? So we'll be talking about we'll be talking about the market appeal, some things that got us into them, and then also like the staying power. Why, as an art form, comics are unique and have merit as artistic expression. So all of that and more. But we'll see you then. Make sure to check out Wednesday OM, Silver Sunday, and the rest of the Amanda's Comics Network at their respective times. Check out the Roku, where you can see things happening just in the background. We'll probably wake you up at 3 a.m. if you leave us on in the background. Yeah, but until next time.
Make mine
Silverline.
What? Hi, I'm Chris Olm. I'm the former editor-in-chief of Malibu Comics. Make mine Silverline.